If a Criminal Minds episode is directed by Matthew Gray Gubler, run. If you see written by Matthew Gray Gubler, run. Be prepared mentally, physically, emotionally. So I recently finished watching Criminal Minds for the first time, and there are many episodes that I will never, ever forget.
He was alive yesterday.
Yes, I can.
So Criminal Minds follows the FBI's behavioral analysis unit. The BAU's team of profilers is made up of characters that we've all come to love, profile the minds of criminals, and then by doing so, help local law enforcement to catch these criminals, unsubs, before they're able to commit their next violent act. Now, from its 2005 premiere to its 2020 finale, Criminal Minds captivated audiences with 15 seasons of edge-of-your-seat drama, heartfelt character moments, and stress-inducing cliffhangers. Some of these season finales left me so let's go ahead and discuss Criminal Minds once more. Now, this episode is only 6 episodes into the show's original run, so we're still pretty new to all the characters and like everything that's going on in the world of the BAU. But we start off with Dr. Spencer Reid trying to pass his gun certification exam in order to allow him to carry a weapon in the field, and ultimately he ends up failing. Now, like Dr. Spencer Reid, he's not Morgan, he's not beefy and brawny tackling the bad guy sometimes, but not always. He's more so the brains of the operation in terms of figuring out things that the other members of the BAU aren't seeing. But he is still an FBI agent, so he needs to be able to have that gun certification. And ultimately, like I said, he ends up failing. So he's kind of down on his luck about that. Morgan's teasing him. Big brother Morgan gives him a little whistle to blow into if he needs help, just being annoying. On the other side of this, we also have someone that is in a park shooting people from a long distance. That's where the title L.D.S.K comes from, an abbreviation for a long distance serial killer. What really got me about this episode and why I won't ever forget it is the final moments. The BAU's worked the case and they've gotten the unsub cornered, or maybe the unsub has gotten them cornered. He pistol whips Spencer Reid as Reid is going on Hotch's orders to inform Gideon of who the unsub is. Takes a whole hospital room of people hostage. Gideon and the rest of the BAU is on one side of the SWAT team who was ready to go in and take them all down, but that's going to mean casualties. It's such a crazy moment because, oh wait, let me go back. I forgot something. At one point, Reid points out that Hodge carries 2 guns. He has his gun that he holds at his waist, and he also has another smaller gun that he keeps at his ankle. Now that comes back full circle because now when the unsub is holding Hodge and Reid and the rest of the hospital people hostage, Hodge is kind of like playing with the unsub a little bit. Hodge is, I'm gonna get to Hodge later. We have some episodes to talk about when it comes to Hodge. But Hodge is, doing his thing, profiling the unsub with all the profiling things that he does. And he's like, you know what? Can I beat this little dweeb up? He's been on my back, annoying me. I'm so annoyed that I have to even work with him. The unsub's like, yeah, go ahead, beat him up. So Hodge is like kicking Spencer Reid in the ribs, kicking him. I'm like, oh my gosh, who wants to see Dr. Spencer Reid getting beat up? Not me. And it's gonna happen over and over again in the seasons to come. But and this is the first time I'm seeing it. I'm like, this is traumatizing. Like, the little itty bitty Spencer Reid is getting beat up. So he's getting beat up viciously by a Hodgner. But in that moment, Spencer was in on the plan because Spencer got the ankle gun from Hodge as he was kicking him and delivered a headshot kill to the unsub. I said, Spencer Reid, you better land that shot when it counts.
If you're gonna shoot, bitch, do it!
Oh my God, it was just such a the tension and the thrill of this episode and it all culminating and Spencer Reid landing a headshot on the unsub after not passing his gun certification in the beginning. I said, won't he do it? When the going gets tough, Spencer Reid gets going. I was like, wow. Spencer's like, I understand you gotta beat me up in order to kind of help me get the message in order to get your gun or whatever. And Spencer Reid's like, don't feel too bad. Like I've been a nerd in high school. You kick like a little girl. So all's well that ends well. But it was just such a great episode and a great way for me to start the show. So Criminal Minds Season 1, Episode 6, L.D.S.K will always be one that I will never forget. Now, I think this one is going to be on everyone's list for episodes that we will never forget. And if it's not, maybe you need to go back and rewatch it because baby, my God, this episode had me teary-eyed. This episode had me conflicted just like Gideon. This episode had me feeling all the things. Season 1, Episode 14, Riding the Lightning. Now, this episode follows the case of Jacob and Sarah Jean, who was nicknamed the Ice Queen. And they're penned a serial killer couple because basically they're guilty of killing 12 young blonde girls and also their 2-year-old son back in the day. They've been on death row for a while, and now the day is finally here for them both to be put to death. It's 35-hour countdown at the start of the episode till their execution. Jacob was the one doing the killings, and he's profiled as a sexual psychopath, but he's also charismatic as hell. Like, look, all the scenes, like, kudos to the actor Michael Massey. I had to look him up because I was like, he was charismatic as hell. Like, I hate that I was like pulled into his like shenanigans because he's evil and he's killing people. But in his like whole interrogation scenes with Hoshner, as Hoshner is trying to figure out if there's any more bodies out there before he's put to death, the way he was just playing with Hoshner and his smile and his suave and just oh my god, like he would definitely like stuck in my mind. But then we also have on the other side of this Sarah Jean. Sarah Jean, she was just an angel. I felt like she was an angel on earth. Like, she was just so gentle. She was at peace at being put to death. Her main thing that she's being put to death for is the death of their 2-year-old son. And Gideon kind of discovers through just by working the case that the son may not actually be dead, but Sarah Jean's not really wanting to confess to this. She's kind of saying he is dead, like let him be or whatever. And Gideon's like, what is going on? But ultimately we discover that Sarah Jean is willing to die and be blamed for her son's death in an effort to protect him from who his parents actually are in terms of them being a serial killer couple who killed all these girls way back when. So it's kind of like protect your son's innocence. She gave her son up for adoption. He's living his own life somewhere, talented cellist. And she's like, I'd rather die and have my son be out there in the world at peace than have the burden of him know who his parents are, be with him for the rest of his life, and even like torment him after we're gone. And I'm like, that is some powerful ass shit. And like Gideon's not understanding. He's like, let us find your son, let us prove that he's alive, let us save you. And she's like, no. Some of the quotes from this episode, like,
I am standing here because of choices I made. Don't let my son be Jacob's last victim. Let me go. Let us both go.
And the way she delivers that line, and you can see the heartache in her and the plea to Gideon to just let this be. I said, my God. It's a very emotional, thought-provoking, tense episode. The love of a parent and the sacrifices you will make for your children. And that will be a recurring theme as I discuss some episodes going forward in terms of the things that parents are willing to do to protect their children. Some of these children are evil. Some of these children are evil. Now, when I first started this show, I was like, I hope there's no children unsubs. And boy, that hope just went to hell because some of these kids, we'll get there. In this moment, I said, Sarah Jean, you are an angel on earth. Like I said, what would you do if you were Gideon? Would you honor Sarah Jean's wishes? Like, would you say, you know what? I will honor your wish to let you be put to death in order to protect your son? Or would you be like, no, that's not right. You should not die. And yeah, and like, I didn't even think they were going to go through with it in terms of killing her, but they go through with killing her with us knowing and with Gideon knowing and the rest of the BAU knowing that she's actually innocent and her son is actually still, like, could you imagine? Oh my God. Truly an episode that I will never forget. Now we need to get into season 2, episode 11, Sex, Birth, and Death. Oh my God, this episode. It starts off with the unsub, Nathan Harris, played by the late Anton Yelkin, who meets with Reid and basically confesses to his crimes, although he hadn't done anything yet, but his potential crimes that he may do in the future. And this prompts Reid to race back to the BAU to launch an investigation. And Reid's like, oh my gosh, I think I might have just had an unsub confess to me. And boom, the episode kicks off. Now, Nathan is like a tortured, like quiet high school sophomore, and he's struggling with these dark urges. He's a sexual sadist, basically. That's what he's profiled as, who actually wants help, which isn't something you see a lot. And he's terrified of his own violent fantasies and convinced he needs to kill himself to prevent himself from hurting women. Now, he forms this like unexpected emotional connection with Reid, and Reid also forms one with him because, like, you know, Reid kind of always forms his connections with these like nerdy, like young males because, you know, that was him. Ultimately, after the BAU's kind of like done everything he can for him, like, you know, they kind of do a psychological evaluation of him, and Gideon kind of like tells the mom, who's a doctor, that he needs to be institutionalized, and she's like, I'm not doing that to my son. Like, he hasn't done anything yet. Like, we're not doing that. But it's like, in this situation, like, what do you do when he's being profiled and he's being diagnosed as someone who will commit a violent act in the future, but he hasn't done anything yet? You know what I mean? Ultimately, Nathan kind of gives into his impulse to want to commit one of these violent acts. He kind of gets a sex worker to a motel room. But thankfully, Reid intervenes in time and he arrives at the hotel room, and Nathan stopped himself, thankfully, and decided to off himself instead. But Reid's able to save him in that moment. But this episode ends leaving Reid with a major ethical dilemma, and like, by saving Nathan in that moment, is he potentially putting future victims at risk? A great episode, again, wonderfully portrayed by the late Anton Yelchin. His tortured soul in the character of Nathan Harris is just, that's the part that like really stays with me. Like, this boy was really struggling and really going through it, and it's like, how can we help? I don't know. Criminal Minds Season 2, Episode 12, Profiler Profiled. My God, this episode is one I will never forget, solely for Shamar Moore's performance as Derek Morgan. This episode is a major Derek Morgan character study. It's set in his hometown of Chicago, where he's visiting his mom for her birthday. But things take a dark turn when a neighborhood boy, turns up murdered, and Morgan becomes a prime suspect. Now, the tension within the BAU is palpable. Oh my God. As they have to profile one of their own, and Morgan fiercely resists at every turn in terms of letting the team delve into his past, and understandably so. Like, at first we're like, why is Morgan being so cagey? Why is he being so private? But we, as the episode kind of unravels, it kind of makes sense, because in the BAU profiling him, it's resurfacing deeply buried trauma that Morgan has from his childhood sexual abuse by his football coach. Like, if you want an episode to just highlight Derek Morgan, this would be the one to do. The teary-eyed anger that he has for Carl, the anger that he has at the BAU for looking into his life. Like, and up until this point, we've known Derek Morgan to just be kind of like this brawny, like, jokester. He's always flirting with Garcia. He's always teasing Reid. He's always taking on the bad guys. But we've never seen this part of him, and rightfully so. This is something that happened in his past in terms of his childhood abuse, and he's grown from that, and he's left that all behind. But again, him being back in his hometown, and now the BAU being here as well, and having to investigate him and his circumstances and his life and everything, is just a lot going on. And I just feel like this can also be seen in a lot of grown men who unfortunately have to deal with childhood abuse, and the ways that they deal with it or don't deal with it, and how it resurfaces sometimes. So overall, just a really, really, really good episode. And I will never forget Shamar Moore's performance in this episode, particularly. Like, oh my God, so good. So freaking good. Now, there's one more episode from season 2 of Criminal Minds that I want to discuss in terms of episodes I will never forget. It's a two-parter. Criminal Minds season 2, episode 14 and 15, The Big Game and Revelation. My God, on today. These episodes focus on the complex unsub Tobias Hinkle, portrayed excellently and powerfully by James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek. I don't want to wait for my life to be over.
All right, let's move on.
The episode culminates in a dramatic ass cliffhanger. I mean, when I tell you the cliffhanger for season 2, episode 14, The Big Game, oh my God. Where we have JJ and Reid both in perilous ass situations. JJ is attacked by a pack of is it cannibalistic? No, that would mean they're eating other dogs. A carnivoristic. What do you call a dog that eats people?
No, my bad. I'm sorry.
So the unsub Tobias, right? He has multiple personality disorder, and so there's Tobias, who's like the innocent son, Archangel Raphael, who's actually the unsub who wants to do the killings, and you also have Charles, who's Tobias's abusive father, who is actually deceased but kind of lives within Tobias. It's a whole thing. Tobias doesn't want to kill people. So right before the killing of any of these victims, Tobias will call the police like, oh my gosh, there's about to be a killing here. And then Raphael, the unsub, will do the killing. So Hotchner sends JJ and Reid to Tobias's house to kind of get some information from him as a witness, not as a suspect. On their way there, once they arrive, it's at that point when Hodge and the rest of the BU discover that Tobias is an unsub. But because the reception is so spotty out there, they're not able to call Reid and JJ to let them know that Tobias is an unsub. So now here we go. This is all happening at the end of the season 2, episode 14, The Big Game. Here we go. This got me so stressed, and I'll never forget it. Reid goes around. He goes around the porch and looks into the window, and he sees all the computer screens that have to do with the case. And he basically sees Tobias in there, and Tobias sees him, and like, oh shit, Tobias is unsub. So Reid makes that connection right away. Now this is the part that pissed me the fuck off. Dr. Spencer Reid, I have to get you together. Tobias makes a run for it. At one point, they see him possibly going into the barn or something. So Reid is like, JJ's like, let's wait for backup. We need to wait for backup. And Reed's like, no, like, let's go get him, whatever. So Reed just sprints off chasing Tobias. I'm like, Reed, what are you doing? And I feel like Reed and JJ are both on the younger side of the BAU and maybe like less experience. JJ used to be the communication liaison, so she wasn't really in the field like that in the first season. And then Dr. Reed is just young in general. I think he's like 21, 22 at this time. And just young. So like, I don't know. You sent the two young people out here into the field to get an unsub that you didn't know was an unsub at the time. Hotron just a mess. So Reed sprints after Tobias. JJ's like, oh my gosh, Reed, wait. But she sprints after Tobias too, but JJ goes into the barn, and the barn is where these carnivorous as dogs are. And it's dark, she can't see shit, it's just a lot going on. So then the dogs just like lunge for JJ, and we just hear her yelling, and then it cuts away from that. And then we go to Reed chasing Tobias through the cornfield, and he's looking all around, and Tobias gets him, whacks him, and knocks him unconscious. So now Reed's down for the count. I said, my God, on today. And that's how the episode ends. It ends with us looking at Tobias as he's speaking as both Tobias and also as Raphael the unsub, all in one person. And we see James Vanderbeek standing there, and that's kind of what the reveal is that this has been one unsub the whole time with multiple personality disorder. And the episode ends. Oh my God.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Today drained me.
Now, season 2, episode 15, Revelations, picks back up right where we left off with the BAU now knowing that Tobias is the unsub. They're all coming with their police cars to the crime scene, to Tobias's house or whatever. They're looking for Reed and JJ, nowhere to be found. They find JJ in the barn, and she's like traumatized as fuck. She's pointing their gun at the BAU, like Emily and Morgan. She's like out of it. There's blood on the floor everywhere from the victim that got ate by the dogs, and we see 3 dead dogs here. So JJ thankfully was able to shoot the dogs before they got her ass. Reed is nowhere to be found because Tobias got his ass in the back of a truck, taking him to some other location. I said, my God. So Reed is taken to some cabin near some graveyard by Tobias, and he's basically just being like tortured there, just spanking Reed on his foot like he's a little kid. But speaking of that, this episode delves more into Reed's backstory, showing his vulnerability and hinting at his own childhood trauma. So Tobias, sweet Tobias, in an effort to help Reed deal with the Raphael and Charles's like abuse or whatever, he forcefully gives Reed Dilaudid, which is mixed with other substances. And this is something Tobias took in his youth to deal with his childhood abuse from his father, Charles. And Reed's like, no, I don't want it. But he gives it to him anyways. He's like, it will help. And then by doing this, it kind of puts Reed in this drug-induced state where we're getting flashbacks of Reed's childhood and basically seeing Reed's mom and dad for a little bit, and his mom's played by Jane Lynch. Shout out to Sue Sylvester. Where we're seeing his whole relationship dynamic there, and how the mom was sick at one point and she didn't want to get help, and Reed had to get her committed, and the father was leaving, and just there's a lot going on there, and we're kind of getting this backstory for the first time. And eventually kind of like Reed kind of confesses to Raphael just to give him something that he didn't treat his mom right or whatever, and that was his sin or whatever. And at this time, the BAU still does not know where Reed is. They're just seeing this through the cameras that Tobias has set up. So they're seeing Reed get tortured. They're seeing him almost get killed a few times. Like, it's grueling for them to watch. Jada's blaming herself. Morgan's being an asshole about it.
The truth is, one of you is here and one of you isn't. You got to figure the rest out for yourself.
But eventually, Reed's able to give some clues that kind of like gives the BAU some insight into where he is. So they're on their way to rescue him. But eventually, Raphael's like, okay, time to die. So he takes Reed out to the graveyard to start digging his own grave. And ultimately, when Raphael's not looking, because he sees the BAU coming from a distance, Reed shoots and kills him. Now, the part that got me about this episode, and the part that I will never forget, is that, of course, as Reed approaches and looks over the unsub's body. Now, like I said, there's 3 personalities in this unsub. There's Tobias, sweet, innocent Tobias, who's just trying to help Reed and help these people not get killed. There's Raphael, the unsub archangel, and there's Charles, who's Tobias's father, who abused him in his childhood. Who is the last person we see in this moment?
Tobias.
There he is.
You think I'll get to see my mom again?
Why was the last person we get to see is sweet, innocent Tobias, who didn't even want to be dealing with any of this bullshit? Oh my God. I'm about to cry all over just thinking about it. It was so sad.
Yes, I can.
And this performance is so great by James Vanderbeek. And as the BAU go away and give Reed this private moment with Tobias, Reed pulls the Dilaudid out of Tobias's pocket and takes it with him. And this is kind of the start of Reed's drug addiction to Dilaudid, and it's like, oh my God. Now, the only thing I'll say is, in terms of Reed's drug addiction storyline, they really didn't do the best with it, because I feel like they didn't really address it, really. It was just something in the background. Eventually, we see him going to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting or something, and he's like a year into his recovery or whatever. But yeah, I feel like they didn't know what to do with that storyline, because how can you have a drug addicted Reid on the BAU trying to solve cases? They could have done something with it, but they really chose not to or whatever. But in this moment, I just like, oh my God, my sweet, sweet baby Dr. Spencer Reid is now about to be addicted to drugs, going through this traumatic situation. Where does he go from here? I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that I will never forget Criminal Minds Season 2, Episode 14, The Big Game, and Criminal Minds Season 2, Episode 15, Revelations. Moving on to Criminal Minds Season 3, there are a few episodes that stay with me. One honorable mention I will give is the Criminal Minds Season 3, Episode 5, 7 Seconds. Now, this is the one where there's the case of the missing Katie Jacobs at the mall. This episode takes place all in one location. There's a countdown as they look for this missing girl. Because as we know, if you're a member of the BAU, a child has about 24 hours after they go missing to be saved before, they go on to glory. So like this was like some real time shit. Like they're trying to find this girl before she is a goner. In the episode, they say that it takes 7 seconds for a child to go missing. And it's true. And we'll see that later on when we get to Season 5 down in Mosley Lane. Basically, at the end of this episode, it's revealed that the unsub is actually Katie's aunt. Katie's fucking aunt, who formerly worked at the mall, and after discovering her husband, Katie's uncle, was sexually abusing Katie, takes matters into her own hands by getting rid of Katie and not dealing with the husband. And to make matters worse, Katie's uncle is a twin. So Katie's dad, the missing girl, Katie, her dad has a twin who's her uncle, and the uncle is the one that was abusing Katie. I said, what type of mind-twisting fuckery shit is this? So now Katie, for the rest of her life, is going to have a memory, an image in her mind of her dad, but not her dad, but actually her uncle abusing her. How is she going to even, this family is just so fucked up, because how is she even going to grow up looking at her dad, who has the same face as the man that abused her in her childhood? I said, my God. And then not only that, she also has to deal with the fact that her aunt tried to kill her in an effort to cover up her uncle's abuse. I said, oh my God. 7 Seconds was just a great episode, and Criminal Mind episodes be like 40 seconds. For the first 30 minutes, we're like looking for this girl, looking for this girl, looking for this girl. We're like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And Prentice and Hodge really get into the aunt and the uncle's ass, and ultimately they like confess and they're able to find her or whatever. And oh my God, it is some scary shit. You think you know people, you think your family is a one group of people that you can at least know even a little bit. And the way the aunt was just sitting here throughout this whole entire episode, just smiling and stressed and just, fake nervous or whatever, knowing the whole time that she was the one that was the culprit. Different type of evil. Now, the next episode is another two-part in terms of continuing the storyline, and it's Criminal Minds Season 3, Episode 8 and Episode 9, Lucky and Penelope. In Criminal Minds Season 3, Episode 8, we have this unsub that is like mentally ill, sadistic, satanic, cannibalistic serial killer in, the swamp of the United States of America. And I'm sorry if you're from this place, but Florida.
Ah, the ghetto!
Nothing good happens in Florida. I'm sorry. What is going on? Is it the weather? Is it the alligators? Is it the beaches? I don't know. Florida always just got something going on. We have the unsub that's volunteering to be a part of the search party for the missing woman. And it turns out that the unsub, who's a cannibal, decided to make everyone a cannibal that day because he put the missing victim in the food that he was serving to the search party. And, oh my God. And at one point you have the pastor who's like helping with this case or whatever, interviewing the unsub, and he says, God is in all of us. And the unsub fixes his mouth to say, so is Tracy Lambert. I said, my God, on today. The first time I saw this, I said, oh my God, what the fuck?
That's sickening.
And the crazy part is this unsub was already institutionalized, but because of something, he was like institutionalized as a kid. So once he hit 18, his case was revisited and he couldn't be out anymore. So he was released, and then he committed this horrible act. I said, if you want to be a cannibal, you go. No, I'm not going to say you go do that, because then that means you'll be eating other people, and that's not okay.
This is what I mean when I say you don't think.
I'm thinking.
You don't think.
I'm thinking.
Not on yourself, bitch. Not on your motherfucking self. But don't make all of us a cannibal by proxy. But this episode also features a Garcia storyline, like I said, where she meets this cute, handsome guy at a coffee shop who was like having some computer problems. And against Morgan's wishes, Garcia pursues a date. Now, Garcia and Morgan have a very interesting relationship. In this moment when Garcia kind of confides in Morgan about this meet cute and how she decided to kind of pursue it or whatever. And she's telling Morgan how this doesn't usually happen to girls like her because the guy's so handsome and suave and she's all nerdy and Garcia or whatever. And Morgan underhandedly tries to talk Garcia out of the date, assuming that if the guy's as charming and attractive as Garcia says he is, there's no way he'll be taking with Garcia. And Garcia's like, oh, fuck you. BAU. Like, you did not just try to like do that. Like, she's over. She's like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Now, you know Criminal Mind loves her cliffhangers because this episode ends with Garcia going on the date against Morgan's wishes, and this man has an audacity to say,
"Hey, Garcia.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing this all night."
Where did that come from?
I hate that Morgan was right in this moment in terms of it being too good to be true, but oh my god, this episode, I was like, Garcia! So season 3, episode 9, Penelope picks up where we left off with Garcia being shot. She's taken to the hospital, the BAU find her, they're trying to figure out what's going on, she's in the operating room, the BAU's stressed, all of it. Then it becomes an investigation into the BAU's like, you know, well, you come after one of us, we're gonna find you, we're gonna hunt you down. So the BAU trying to investigate why would this happen, like this doesn't seem like some ordinary date. Garcia's like hiding stuff or whatever. It's revealed that Garcia was investigating some cases on the low, or at least like tagging it so like the FBI didn't forget him. And the person who was committing these acts in these cases, he found out that he was being tagged by Garcia, so he came up with this scheme to get Garcia and get her. And also, this unsub was also a police officer. But the fact that the unsub have the audacity to show up to the BAU headquarters to kind of like get the cases that were being tracked on him deleted via Kevin Lynch, and Garcia's able to hack into the BAU cameras to see that he's there. Everyone's trying to make sure that like, you know, this is handled very carefully because like he's literally in the BAU with a gun. Like there's gonna be casualties if they're not careful. Thankfully, they're able to give JJ the heads up, who was like outside of the bullpen or whatever, and she gets a headshot through the glass to the unsub and takes him out. I like this episode because we get the introduction of Kevin Lynch, because while Garcia's out of commission in the hospital, they need another analyst to come and do their tech-savvy stuff. So we get sweet Kevin Lynch. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Kevin Lynch. Well, we get Kevin Lynch kind of helping the BAU in terms of solving this case. And I like, they have a little meet cute at the end of the episode where, you know, they finally get to meet, because this whole entire time, this whole episode, Kevin Lynch is working from the BAU, Garcia's working from home or whatever, and they're kind of like going back and forth, being all techie and savvy and whatever. And at the end, they finally get a little meet cute, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the start of a little romance. I'm so sad that by the end of the show that they're not endgame, they don't end up working out, because I just felt like they're so adorable together. Garcia and Morgan make up, they have a very cute I love you moment. I just love them so much. Their relationship is just, oh, so sweet. The Garcia trauma of it all is why I will never forget this episode, because I'm like, how are you gonna put sweet Penelope Garcia in this ordeal? Like, she doesn't even leave her little computer den with all her little colorful figurines and stuff. And the one time she does go on a date, this is what happens to her. Oh my god. But I'm glad she made it, and I'm glad she pulled through in Criminal Minds season 3, episode 9, Penelope. I have the same conflicting feelings that Spencer Reid had in this episode when it comes to this unsub and the things that he was doing. So I'm going to choose my words very carefully. But the next episode that I'll never forget of Criminal Minds is Criminal Minds season 3, episode 16, Elephant's Memory. Now, this episode has a chaotic, violent as opening. A man coming home to his house, and the house instantly explodes as soon as he walks in, like full on explosion. The house is destroyed, the man is killed. I'm like, what is going on? Then the 2 police officers report to the scene to kind of like scope out what's going on, and then someone in a long black trench coat and a machine gun of some kind mow down the 2 police officers. Now, as soon as I saw that black trench coat, I said, here we go. Nothing good can come from a long black trench coat. Unfortunately, I feel like it now has that stigmatization ever since one school shooting that happened back in the day. So like anytime I see that, whether it be in public or in movies or TVs, I'm like, here we go. So I said, okay, this is what we're doing this episode. Let's get on into it. The episode also features a continuing storyline of Spencer's drug addiction and his recovery. We see him going to an NA meeting, and then we also see him traumatized from not being able to rescue a kid in a few episodes ago in the episode Third Life, where this is Irish mob father who's trying to save and rescue his daughter, and he ends up, Spencer trying to talk him down and prevent him from killing this teenage boy, and the father's like, tomorrow, in terms of when he's gonna stop the violence, and he kills the kid right in front of Spencer. So it's a very traumatic moment for Spencer, so he's still recovering from that. That leads into this episode where we have this unsub. Owen is like this bullied, misunderstood, nerdy loner, kind of gets poor treatment from his police officer father, the kids at school, everything. His only like saving grace is that he has his girlfriend, Jordan, who he's very protective over, and they kind of have this like loving relationship. And you know, yeah, they're both of them, they're just like 2 alienated kids, no maternal presence, domineering fathers. It's just the whole, they're a match made in heaven together in terms of like just being able to understand each other. So like I said, Owen's the unsub, so he was the one that committed that act at the beginning in terms of blowing up the house. And the guy that walked into the house was Jordan's father. So he killed Jordan's father in order to free her from her father's abuse or whatever. And then he also killed the 2 police officers just because, I guess, I don't know, just because he's Unsub. But throughout the episode, we just see Owen on a reign of terror throughout this town. He goes to a convenience store and kills this one convenience store clerk. And we come to find out that the convenience store clerk is someone who like did something messed up to Jordan, his girlfriend. And we also have Owen taking these 3 high school boys out to the damn river and shooting them with the damn machine gun. And it's because when Owen was on the wrestling team, which he only did to make his father kind of proud. The boys videotaped Owen taking off his clothes, and I believe they videotaped Owen like, you know, pleasuring himself or something, and then posted it everywhere. So just being a typical high school bully bullshit or whatever. And Owen got his revenge on that too, and he killed them. And then Owen was like hiding out with Jordan at some old man's farm, and then he thought the man was out of town, so he killed. When the man came back unexpectedly, he had to kill that man too. So it was just a lot. Owen, the body count is definitely like high. Like Owen's killed like 9 people. Where I'm conflicted and where Reid was also conflicted is Reid's connection to this Unsub. Now throughout this episode, you have Reid's attempts to justify, I don't want to say justify, lay blame at the feet of the school officials and the authorities of this town, much to Hotch's dismay. But Reid is pointing out in like Owen's undiagnosed learning disability that wasn't handled well, which probably was a reason for his poor academic performance. The bullying, which also included this traumatic public humiliation incident that was videotaped and shown to the school. And then also just the school's inaction on it. Like at one point, one of the principals, someone saying like boys will be boys. And I'm like, and Reid angrily points out this excuse of boys being boys, this is a result of that. And like, you guys could have done much more. And Hotch is not having it. And Reid, because Reid's just like angry and pointing out these failures in the system and his frustrations. And Hotch is just reprimands him. He's like, you need to cut it out. You need to remember that you're a profiler. Like, I understand you might have some sympathy for this Unsub, but that's not justify what he's doing.
Oh, you're punishing me?
No. I'm using you. You know this kid better than anybody. Go find us something we can use.
Girl, I'm about to get the fuck up out of here because...
But this episode and the profile of Owen just has Reid self-reflecting on his own high school experiences and the bullying that he endured. And he confides in Morgan about this story about when he was in high school, he was kind of like lured to the high school football field by girls that he liked and thought liked him. And basically they took him out there naked and in front of the whole school. And it's just like a very humiliating, embarrassing thing. And Morgan mentions elephant's memory in terms of, you know, a strong, long-lasting memory, especially of a negative experience. And that's kind of what Reid is feeling in this moment in terms of all the things he's faced. And it's also what Owen's feeling in this moment. It's just in terms of how you choose to deal with it. It's like where Reid was bullied just like Owen was and had these traumatic experiences growing up, he didn't take that and turn it into anger and hate and the need for revenge and violence as Owen has done in this moment. And the fact that, you know, Owen's father had him have access to these guns, it kind of also attributes to the situation that we see ourselves in. And the only reason that Owen wasn't a flat out school shooter was because of Jordan, because Jordan gave him a reason to live. So that's why he was really just trying to run away with Jordan and just be together, but because of he first needs to take all the people that did him wrong. But otherwise, you know, a lot of times these school shooters, they have these suicidal ideations, so they want to go in and commit as much harm as possible to as many people as possible and then just die in the process. But in this case, thankfully, and maybe, I guess, because Owen had the will to live because of Jordan, he didn't go that route, even though he still was killing a lot of people. We have Reid lying to Hodge in terms of the whereabouts of Owen because he wants to try to be able to talk him down, because he knows that if the BAU confronts Owen, especially as he's highly emotional and he has weaponry, that it may not end well and Owen may get killed, especially coming off of, like I said, the Third Life episode where Reid was not able to save that kid. He wants to try to save this kid, especially because he relates so much to him. So Reid lies to Hodge saying that he's just going to go back to the police headquarters and he doesn't want to be there when Owen gets captured. The BAU is where they think Owen is going to be. Meanwhile, Reid already knows that Owen is going to be at the police station because that's where Jordan is and he probably wants to see Jordan one last time. So Reid heads there and thankfully that's where Owen is. And Reid is able to talk Owen down and he makes a promise to him that he will let him see Jordan one last time and give her this necklace that he has for her. All's well that ends well, you know, even though all these people died. And Reid's kind of in trouble with Hodge because Hodge definitely reprimands him. He's like, don't ever lie to me again when it comes to the case. How dare you like say you're gonna do this but do that, and you did this purposely to try to, you know, catch Owen on your own. And it's like Reid was just basically like, look, I lost someone in the last episode or the last case. I needed this one. And Hotch is like, we don't keep score. We work the case as it is supposed to be worked. And Hotch has this powerful ass line where he says, I know it's painful when the person you identify with is the bad guy. And Reid says, what does that make me? And Hotch is good at the job. I said, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I guess that's why I won't ever forget this episode, because like I said, I am not an Owen, I'm not a Reid in terms of having been bullied severely in my youth to this extreme. But I just don't empathize with people that do get bullied like this and the decisions that they choose to make as a result. And I'm not justifying Owen's actions at all. And I don't want to say I understand it either, because how can you understand violence on this scale? But like I said, like, what do you do when you kind of can understand and relate to someone doing something so bad and the reason behind it? This was a really good episode, and it's one that I will never forget. It's Criminal Minds Season 3, Episode 16, Elephant's Memory. The last episode of Criminal Minds Season 3 that I want to discuss is a two-parter, and you know what that means. Season finale. Season finale cliffhanger. That's gonna leave us all stressed. Criminal Minds Season 3, Episode 20, Lofi. Oh my god. So the BAU traveled to NYC for a series of random shootings that are just by these cloaked hooded figures in broad daylight. We have Hotch and the rest of the BAU meeting up with Hotch's old colleague Joyner, who's leading the case, and there's a bit of conflict with Joyner and Morgan because Morgan is behind the scenes up to take her job by the powers that be. The episode is just so chaotic. As someone that's lived in New York, seeing people just randomly gunned down in the middle of the street and the BAU does not know what the motivations are, what's going on. Eventually they are able to profile that it's multiple people doing this, not just one person. Will, at one point, who's JJ's love interest, I think they're together at this point. And I did not like this moment for Will. He kind of strong arms JJ into telling the rest of the BAU that she's pregnant. And of course they're all happy for her, but I just didn't like the way that he did it. I wish that JJ was able to tell them on her own time. He also was kind of pressuring JJ to like step out of the field now that she's pregnant. I don't know, like Will knew who he was marrying and getting involved with when he decided to pursue JJ. So I don't like the notion that now that she's pregnant that he wanted her to get out of the field. Now in hindsight, once I see what happens at the end of this episode, I'm like, maybe he has a point. But in the moment, I just didn't like that, like, oh, you're pregnant now, you need to sit down and let me rub your feet and I'll go to work and be the man and do the job. Like, no, JJ likes what she does. She likes saving people. She has her own reasons for this line of work and why she's doing it. So I'm like, well, take a seat. But yeah, the BAU profiles that's actually a large terrorist cell that's committing these acts. They're using these random murders in daylight to kind of plan for a larger terroristic event in the city. The episode ends on this split screen of all the BAUs getting into the SUV cars to go do whatever they're supposed to be doing. And then one of the SUVs blow up without us seeing who was in that SUV, and the episode ends, leaving us stressed and freaking out over which BAU member just got. I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. This is one of those episodes that I'm like, if you had to watch this in real time, this is the season finale. This is not even a catch us next week. This is, you have to wait a few months for the fall season to start back up again. I said, my god. Moving right into season 4. Season 4, episode 1, Mayhem. It picks up right where we left off with the season 3 finale, Lofi. Hotch and Joyner are blown to bits. Not literally, but literally, like, they're walking. So it turns out that Hotch and Joyner were the ones that had the car that exploded. But thankfully, they weren't in the car. They were approaching the car. But when the car exploded, it kind of like threw them backwards or whatever. So Joyner is sprawled out one place, Hotch is sprawled out another place. He's like trying to regain consciousness and figure out what's going on. I'm like, oh my god. Unfortunately, Joyner, who was lead on this case, she ultimately succumbs to her wounds because she's like bleeding out from her everywhere, and she can't feel her legs. It's just a bad look for her right now. And there's no first responders coming to help them because in the last episode, they profiled that the Unsubs would do one attack and then wait for the first responders to come in to help people and then do another attack. So once this car bomb explosion went off, none of the first responders were coming because they had already profiled that this would happen and told them not to come. So Hotch is out there like crying for help, like, please, someone come help us, someone come help us. And the first responders and police are just standing far back just watching it happen because they were told not to come in. So it's just a horrible, tragic scene. Now we have this one bitch. Now we have one unsub that we didn't know was an unsub at the time, Sam, who was at the explosion. He's actually the one that set off the damn detonation, which you later see Garcia clocks that on due to the camera footage. But he initially shows up, is all up in Hodge's face, like, oh my gosh, you need help, like let me help, I'll call the police, like just trying to act like he's some like bystander citizen being there to help. And Hodge is stressed out, he's bleeding too, he's like damn near dead himself, but he's just focused on Joyner right now. Ultimately, like once Garcia figures out that Sam was one of the unsubs, Morgan had arrived to help Hodge and Joyner, and once Garcia communicates to him that Sam was one of the unsubs, Morgan starts chasing him all the way into the damn subway train tracks. Sam ends up killing himself. He's like, I'm a part of the darkness. This is all part of a bigger plot. You know, just that cult terroristic bullshit. And he dies. So that's kind of like a dead end. We're like, great. Hodge ends up receiving help from a paramedic who's like, I couldn't stand by and watch you suffer anymore, or watch her suffer. Like, I just had to come with my ambulance and I'm gonna try to help you guys.
It was so stupid that I fell for it.
So he gets Joyner into the damn ambulance and they start driving to the damn hospital. Now, mind you, Hodge is in like a state of shock for the first half of this episode, because you know, once you have something traumatic like this happening, you're just like on flight or fight mode, but Hodge is in fight mode trying to save Joyner. So he's like helping the paramedic, he's driving to the hospital, they get to the hospital, and then Hodge just ends up crashing. Cut to Hodge in a damn hospital gown. I'm like, not Hodge in a hospital gown. We've seen Hodge in a hospital gown a few times, but this is just funny to be seeing him in his hospital gown. But Hodge is such a stoic, strong father figure type of man. I'm like, why is he in a hospital gown? Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you're a man, go for your yearly doctor appointments, you know, stands up your health. But come to find out, the damn paramedic that came to help Hodge and Joyner, he was also one of the unsubs. He was a terrorist cell bomb maker, and the whole plan was to get this damn ambulance to the hospital because there's some type of Secret Service political official in the damn hospital, and I don't know if the plan was just to blow up the hospital at large and just get this one political figure that was in the hospital doing some type of operation. But we're like, oh my god. So the damn paramedic is an expert bomb maker. He has this damn bomb that he rigs to detonate, and he has it in the damn ambulance, and shit is just hitting the fan. Ultimately, like, BAU is able to piece everything together, and Morgan, you know, the hero of the day, he gets to the ambulance in time. He can't like disable it in time, so he's like, I'm just gonna have to drive it into an empty area. So he gets in the ambulance and he drives with Garcia's direction into the empty field, and the ambulance blows up. We don't see if Morgan got out of it in time until a few moments later, where we see Morgan is okay. The bomb has been detonated safely with no one getting injured, and Morgan and Garcia and everyone were all stressed, and Garcia is like, oh my gosh. And Morgan says to Garcia,
you're my God-given solace.
oh my god, I love the relationship. I love this moment for them because this was a stressful as fuck. This whole episode was just a lot. It was just a lot from start to finish. Like I said, Joyner freaking died. Morgan almost died. Hodge almost died. Everyone was just at risk. It's like chaos in the city, chaos in the Big Apple. The craziest part is, yes, the BAU stopped this terrorist cell plot, but they didn't catch the unsubs. You know, usually by the end of these episodes, they catch the unsub, they kill the unsub, something happens to the unsub. But in this case, because the unsub is part of a larger group, yes, they took out the Sam. Well, Sam took himself out, and then the paramedic kind of killed himself, because I guess they're, you know, that's their operative. Like, if they get caught, you know, just take yourself out. But at large, the terrorist cell is still out there, and we never revisit this again. Like, in all the remaining 15 seasons or whatever, we never revisit the specific unsub terrorist cell case in terms of like who they were, what their full mission was or whatever. And I thought that was very, very creepy, because at the end we see them talking about the case, and then we just see a room full of people in the shadows, and I guess they're just plotting their next attack. So I'm like, wow, I guess the BAU won today, but who knows what could happen in the future. But overall, these two episodes, season 3 episode 20 Lofi and season 4 episode 1 Mayhem, were a great season finale, season opener episodes, and 2 episodes that I will never forget, purely for the chaotic mayhem nature of the 2 episodes. The next episode on the docket is Criminal Minds season 4 episode 3 Minimal Loss. This episode opens with Reid and Prentice going undercover as child service agents at a cult ranch after reports of child abuse from the cult leader Cyrus, played by the late Luke Perry. Rest in peace. So once Reid and Prentice are on the inside and they're, like I said, undercover as child service agents, there's a whole thing that the politician who was in charge was also sending the damn SWAT team in to raid the damn call, but they didn't know that the FBI and Reid and Prentice were in there at that time. So it became a whole shootout situation, and then things just escalated really badly. But the part that got me was the media's involvement, because they basically just like hindered the whole hostage situation of it all, because they revealed that there was an FBI agent on the inside something that the cult members and Cyrus did not know at the time. So Prentiss ultimately has to take the responsibility and say that she's an FBI agent and not Spencer, and she gets tore the hell up by Cyrus, like gets bloodied and bruised and battered by Cyrus. But ultimately, she doesn't get killed, thankfully. Reid kind of like internalizes this, blaming himself for not speaking up and preventing Prentiss's ordeal. Prentiss lets him know by the end that it's not his fault, you know, and I just love that they're budding friendship, because Prentiss is also new to the team at this point. She's only been here for a little bit of time. Rossi kind of steps in as a lead negotiator, and he does a great job. The episode is titled Minimal Loss because the BAU talks about how in a situation where everyone won't be able to be saved, but you save as many people as possible. But we have this one devoted young child wife of Cyrus. In her despair over her cult leader being killed, mind you, Cyrus was also abusing this girl by having underage relations with her. She kind of like distraught, she takes up the bomb and kind of detonates. Reid and Morgan make it out because they were inside with Cyrus and the girl and the bomb and a whole bunch of other people when she decided to do that, but thankfully they made it out in time. She did not. The crazy part is this whole investigation started because the girl's mom called the child services line, which the BAU got in contact with, because she was trying to protect her daughter, because she saw the things that were going on at the ranch and she could no longer be a part of it, and she didn't want her daughter to be involved with Cyrus in that way. So she called in an effort to save her daughter, which is something that you don't do as a cult member. And in the end, her daughter was one of the casualties because she was so indoctrinated by Cyrus and the cult of it all. So it's just really, it's sad, and it's one that I'll never forget, because you kind of just have the mom at the end seeing the fiery explosion of the cult ranch, and you see all the people coming out, and you see that her daughter wasn't the ones that made it out in time. Season 4, episode 21, A Shade of Grey, is an episode that makes me never want to be a parent. Oh my God. Another episode where we have a child unsub, and that leaves the parents stressed, conflicted, and just battling with what to do in an effort to protect their child or help their child. I don't know, but like, F these kids. We have a missing kid in Kyle who was ultimately found dead in the damn woods. And the original profile is focused on sex offenders, because why wouldn't it be? But then halfway through the episode, there's this twist where the BAU basically discovers that the detective Lancaster, who was the one that was kind of leading the investigation into this case, helped the family cover up the fact that their other son, Danny, was the one that killed Kyle. And Detective Lancaster did an excellent job with this, because they had already had a few sex offenders on their list of people to target or whatever, and there was one in particular who was already guilty of killing these other two boys, so he made the crime scene of Kyle look like those other kids that were killed by the sex offender, so that they could all lump them in together and just pin Kyle's death on the sex offender. And he wanted the baby to kind of like look the other way and just let it go and let the sex offender take the fall for Kyle's death and not Danny. And the BA was like, no, we can't do that. Talk about a parent's torment. I think Prentiss was spot on when she profiled correctly that, you know, usually with missing or dead children, that it tends to separate and strain the parents' relationship, because, you know, they're blaming each other, they're stressed over their kid being missing or dead or whatever. But in this one, they were oddly united. Like at points when Prentiss would interview them, they were kind of like holding each other's hands, confiding each other in it. Prentiss said they're protecting each other, and protecting each other from what? Protecting each other in terms of what they did to protect their other kid, Danny, who was a fucking unsub killer motherfucker. And it was just brutal, because the parents' refusal to kind of like confess the truth of what happened, because and in doing so and in confessing the truth, they would not only be losing one son who had already been killed and died, they would be losing the other to, I'm sure, like the justice system or whatever. So it's like there's no win-win situation. Like, okay, I tell you the truth of what happened, and now we have neither children, or I keep it a secret and I'm tormented and I have to live every day with the fact that my son that is still with us killed my other son in a fit of rage. In rewatching the episode, I could definitely see Danny's sociopathic tendencies, his expressions and behavior. It was just chilling. Like, you could just see it on his face, the way that he acted. And even in the final scene with Prentiss, it was just intense as hell. Like his rage over the chips, him not being able to open the bag, and Prentiss was like, calm the fuck down. And it's like jealousy over Kyle and the treatment that he got, and then the plane. So Kyle, you know, being a little brother and just being annoying, accidentally broke Danny's toy plane. And that's ultimately like what led Danny to kill Kyle. But not only did he kill Kyle, but then he took the broken pieces of the plane and shoved them down Kyle's throat. If that's not sadistic, I don't know what is for a little child to do. Like, what? It's one thing if you accidentally bash your brother's head in with a with a damn a pogo stick or something. Well, accidentally. I don't know if you could really do that accidentally, but you know.
No, my bad. I'm sorry.
But then to take the broken pieces of a plane and shove them down your now dead brother's throat. Not even like, let me go find my parents and confess to what I did. Oh my gosh, I hurt Kyle. Like, how about? Like, no. He sat there, opened his brother's mouth, and shoved those plane pieces down his throat. And then, of course, it comes out that they also had a pet dog that wound up dead. Once they said that, I said, oh, it's a wrap. Once you kill the family pet, I said, it's a wrap, it's a wrap, it's a wrap. No kid of mine is going to be living underneath my roof committing these violent acts and thinking I'm going to be feeding them mac and cheese and buttered pasta and broccolini. No. You are going to the clinker, you are going to juvie, you are going to where the bad kids go. Because that's just horrible. Oh my God. Season 4, episode 21, A Shade of Grey. And I forgot to mention that Criminal Minds season 4 is cooking with gas. Like, they had a lot of great episodes. Out of the first 5 seasons that I'm doing for this video, season 4 might be the best season in terms of episodes that are just non-stop bangers. Like season 4, episode 22, The Big Wheel. It follows the unsub Vincent, who has OCD and, of course, childhood trauma. Like, if you're an unsub, you don't have childhood trauma, you're not doing it right. Because I feel like that's just a prerequisite to becoming an unsub, unfortunately. He's an unsub who wants help. He sends a message to BAU basically saying, help me, like stop me from committing these acts. Because he doesn't want to, but he has to because of his OCD. Like, one of his OCD tics is killing people, I guess. And the BAU kind of profiles that psychopaths don't have the capacity to have empathy for others, but they can mimic it, which I thought was interesting. But the other part about this case that was interesting was Vincent is videoing his kills, focusing on the eyes of his victims. But also, he has footage of his mother being killed on camera, and it's something that he's replaying over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, yeah, that's not healthy to be, not only did you witness your mother being killed at 10 years old because he was hiding in the closet, but then there was a video footage playing or recording the incident, and then he kept it and has been watching it over and over again. I'm like, yeah, I see why you are the way you are. The tricky and the weird part and the sad part about this episode is Vincent and his unsub killings. He ends up killing a mom. And the lady Vincent killed had a son by the name of Stanley, who unfortunately was blind. At the time of the killing, when Vincent killed Stanley's mom, Stanley was there, and he was like, literally, he saw the killing, but because he's blind, he didn't see the killing, but he was present for the killing, if that makes sense. Stanley becomes an orphan because of it, and weirdly, Vincent decides to befriend Stanley, takes on this mentorship role for Stanley or whatever, and they start building this Ferris wheel together, and Vincent comes around to visit Stanley, just as a weird, like, pseudo, like, I killed your parents, so I'm sorry, but now I'm gonna, like, be there for you or something. I don't know. But I just thought Stanley was the cutest little boy ever. Like, he's able to use echolocation to move around, so he calls himself Batman.
The Batman.
Well, hey, Batman.
And he's just like, you know, he's not letting being blind like stop him from living life. He's outside riding a bike. He's moving around his house. He's building like figurines in his room. Like, he's just so sweet and adorable. Stanley and Vincent have this connection of like, you know, two friends. But how can you be friends with someone that killed your mom and hasn't confessed to that? And it's just like in your face, plain in your face, pretty much. It's also, for me, I caught onto the symbolism of this like vicious cycle of death witnessed by children, because just as Vincent witnessed his own mother's death and he had to see it, unfortunately, Stanley also had to witness his own mother's death, but he was blind, so he didn't see it. And I don't know if that stopped the cycle of what Stanley could have become in the future or what, but who's to say? But it's just crazy, that juxtaposition between two men, or one boy, one man, but two young boys at the time who had to witness this tragic act and how their lives kind of went in different directions. Ultimately, like, Vincent promises Stanley to go see the big wheel, which is a Ferris wheel at the local carnival. So Vincent goes and picks Stanley up and takes him to the damn Ferris wheel. Vincent and Stanley go on the Ferris wheel and they're riding it, and Vincent kind of gets the guy to stop it at the top, and they're just talking. Vincent urges Stanley to never wish to be dead and tells him that he's special because he helped him to see before dying at the top of the big wheel from his wounds, because early in the episode he got like shot. The part that got me, the part that really, really got me.
I wish you were my dad.
Forgive me.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And of course, Stanley doesn't know in this moment who Vincent really is, but just off the relationship that they built, Stanley wishes Vincent was his dad. And of course, you know, you got the BAU in the background working the case and all that stuff. And ultimately they come to the carnival and they get the Ferris wheel to come down and they save Stanley or whatever, even though he wasn't in any like apparent danger. But in the final moments, Stanley's kind of able to put together in terms of what's going on with Morgan there to rescue him. A teary-eyed Stanley asks Morgan,
Did he kill my mom?
Morgan doesn't have an answer for him. And it's just such a great episode, a sad episode, a tragic episode. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just another unsub that you have some sympathy for. Not a lot of sympathy because you're still out here killing people, but some sympathy for because you could see the reason as to how he became this way and how there's some unsubs that you know they could have been saved and they could have lived normal lives if certain things that happened to them. And those are the ones that I really feel bad for. Like, this is giving me callbacks to, well, Nathan Harris is just going through some things in the Sex, Birth, and Death episode. But like, I don't know, like Owen, for instance, or this unsub and Vincent. There's just certain unsubs that are just like, dang, if your life wasn't the way that it was, you could have just lived a normal life. You could have just been a regular mentor to Stanley in another world where you just met him because you guys had similar interests in. Who knows? You could have adopted Stanley. I don't know. But it's just, oh my God, the big wheel. Season 4, episode 24, Amplification, was actually my first Criminal Minds episode that I ever watched before going back to watch the show from the start once I decided that it was worthy. And wow, what an introduction to this show. I mean, that opening scene with people collapsing from anthrax in a park was intense as hell. The anthrax attack itself was terrifying, and then you have the military involvement with the whole Fort Detrick of it all, and then you also have the media blackout, and it all just added like more layers of realism. Like, oh my gosh, this felt like a real episode. Like, I felt so much for JJ, who was like torn between her job and like protecting her family because she wanted to let Will and Henry know what was going on and to stay inside, but because of the media blackout, Hodge and the BAU decided that they didn't want to cause mass panic and hysteria and also like alert the unsub. So they're like, we can't let anyone know what's going on. We just have to work the case. But like, meanwhile, the unsub is over here blowing anthrax party into public parks and shit, killing people. Like, so JJ was like I felt like she barely worked the case this episode because she was just so damn conflicted, stuck in her office, paralyzed in terms of what to do. So this unsub, this fella, he was profiled as a myopic zealot and a homegrown terrorist, and he believed that his work was the greatest importance thing to ever face the damn nation because he believed that the threat of anthrax was real. And ever since the 2001 Amerithrax attack, which is a real life event I didn't even know about, but ever since that attack, and like, I guess he felt like since that attack, the threat of anthrax wasn't taken seriously, he said, I need to prove a point. And this was the point that he decided to prove. Really, sir? Really? 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 Talk about mad scientists. When Reid got exposed, when they went to the damn house to look for the damn doctor, and Reid shut the door in Morgan's face and said, don't open this door because the anthrax is coming through the damn ventilation, I said, here we go again. When will Spencer Reid know peace?
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
And to add to all that, we have the scene where Reid asks Garcia to record a message for his mom in the event that he doesn't make it out of the situation alive, because we had already seen how quickly the victims of this anthrax attack were perishing. So Reid said, Garcia, can you help me record a message to my mom and pass it on to her? And we're like, well, Garcia is listening in as Reid makes a message, and we're just listening to this message, and it's just so sweet and endearing. I'm like, oh my God. I also thought it was very interesting when the CDC doctor brought Reid some narcotics to offset the symptoms, and of course, with us knowing his history, Reid was very adamant in terms of like not taking it, and he was like kind of rude. No, I don't want to rude, but he was very stern in terms of refusing it, and that's because of what he went through with the Dilaudid back in season 2. So I just thought that was very interesting. And again, this is my thoughts on them kind of sprinkling in the Reid drug storyline without really fully addressing it. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Then we have Reid getting removed from the house with the anthrax and getting rushed to the hospital, and we see him continue to deteriorate. He's experiencing aphasia when it's basically like slurring his words. He's having internal bleeding. Like, he's just like really going through like, oh my gosh, is Reid gonna make it? And all the BAU's worried about him, and Hodge is like, look, Reid is being taken care of by the best people. We need to focus on this case. I was like, come on, Hodge. Hodge is about his business. But it was really brutal seeing Reid in that condition. But overall, I'm glad he recovered along with some of the other victims, because Reid was able to find the cure in time. And then we have the Unsubs takedown on the train platform, and he's being validated by the general from Fort Detrick, which is where the Unsub wanted to work, but he didn't pass the mental eval. So the general's kind of like, what, this guy's a hero, we're gonna take him back to Fort Detrick, he's gonna work with us, whatever. So he gives over the damn anthrax, and then they arrest him, and he's an idiot, and he's just the worst. And then we have Rossi and Emily like discussing the merits of like informing the public about the anthrax attack and whether or not it was right to keep things quiet or not. And I thought that was a very interesting conversation. Like, how much do we as a general public not know about the things that are happening? And Rossi's like, it would make a normal person's mind blow up if they knew all the things that the government and the federal agencies stopped in terms of like violent acts against the public every single day. I'm like, maybe it's better not to know. But the ending is definitely ominous, as we have the final scene with the anthrax strain that the Unsub created being locked away in some government facility with all these other bio agents, and it's just ominous music, and it just definitely felt realistic in terms of like, if the government was able to get their hands on some secret bio agent that was created by some scientists, once they take the scientists out and say, we're gonna keep this for ourselves in case we ever need it. I said, But yeah, Criminal Minds Season 4, Episode 24, Amplification, just a really good episode overall. In case you haven't already noticed a running pattern, the Criminal Minds season finales do not disappoint. Do not disappoint, especially when it's a two-parter. Just know that you are in for a wild, chaotic ass ride, because Criminal Minds Season 4, Episode 25 and 26, To Hell and Back, surely took me there and back and there and back and once again around for a good old time, because my God, what an intense two-parter finale. I mean, it started off with William Hightower, black man. I said, now wait a minute, we don't usually see a lot of black male unsubs, so this is already starting off a little different, because usually the profile is a white male in their 30s. We have William Hightower causing chaos at the Canadian-US border and confesses to killing 10 people just to get the BAU's attention. And he did all of this to bring attention to his missing sister Lee, alongside a whole bunch of the Detroit homeless population that were also missing alongside his sister. Now, the BAU's investigation into these missing homeless people and drug addicts and, sex workers and all those people in Detroit lead them to a farm in Canada. And at this farm is where they find a bedridden quadriplegic Dr. Mason Turner. And they're like, now, wait a minute. Now, how is this man our unsub when he's not mobile? Like, there's no way he's kidnapping people in Detroit, bringing them across the Canadian border, killing them, and doing whatever he's doing to them. Like, there's no way. So Garcia ultimately discovers through Dr. Turner's, the quadriplegic's computers and stuff, that he was kidnapping these people via his brother Lucas, and he was using them for experimentation and looking into spinal regeneration and stem cell research to basically kind of cure him of his paralysis. And just using these victims as guinea pigs, and then he would dispose of them via the pigs on the pig farm, because pigs will eat anything. As smart as they are, they will eat anything. And they end up finding 89 pairs of shoes. Now, the BAU and William Hightower, they originally thought there were only 10 missing people, including his sister Lee. 89 people that they have killed in their effort to do whatever research that they've been trying to do. I said, my God, when they discovered that, everyone is taken aback, what the fuck? Get every law enforcement person to this damn farm. Now, we also have Lucas. Lucas is Mason's brother, and the BAU was hot on Lucas's trail as he had kidnapped his next victim, Kelly, this teenage girl. So as he approached his farm and he saw that the BAU was coming, Lucas runs off into the woods with Kelly to go to their secret backup spot. So Lucas is hiding out in the damn forest with Kelly while the BAU is at the farm investigating and interrogating Mason and all that stuff. Now, Lucas is Mason's mentally challenged brother. Now, Lucas is scared and confused, and I don't think he fully grasped the severity of what he was doing on behalf of his brother in terms of kidnapping and killing these people. So of course, once Dr. Mason is discovered and the BAU is interrogating him, he kind of just throws Lucas under the bus, saying that Lucas is very violent and volatile, and if they find him, they need to kill him. I think he was obviously just saying that to cover his tracks, and if they find him and they kill him, then there's no one to kind of pin it on him, because again, he's quadriplegic. There's no way any court would find him guilty of killing all these people. And then if Lucas is dead, he kind of gets off scot-free. Kelly's trying to befriend Lucas, because again, he's a gentle giant, even though he's been killing all these people. So she's trying to befriend him, and it's the whole thing. She's trying to calm him down and saying she needs to go to the bathroom, and she gets a phone and kind of gets a cell tower signal, you know, Garcia, once you get that cell tower activated, she will find you. So eventually the BAU is able to find where Kelly's located. And unfortunately, like, Kelly's even like, she's kind of endeared to Lucas, even though he kidnapped her. And she's telling him, like, don't fight, like, just put your hands down, like, don't let, you know, don't be agitated, like, let them take you in or whatever. But of course the SWAT team just doing what the SWAT does. They, like, he puts his hand up for 2 seconds and they just shoot him dead. They just shoot him dead, much to Mason's enjoyment, I guess. And also, so you have Hightower, remember him, he's the one that kind of brought attention to this case in the first place and even discovered that this was happening, thank God, because when he brought this to the Detroit Police Department, they kind of just brushed it off as like, oh, your sister's a junkie, things happen to them, whatever. But because of him, they were able to discover what was going on and hopefully bring peace to these 89 victims and their families and stop this from happening. But at one point, you know, the BAU is just working the case, there's a lot going on. There's a loose gun, there's just a shotgun that's just sitting there. Hightower takes that gun and goes into the house and shoots Mason dead. I said, I know that's right. I'm not mad at it at all.
Clap if you care. All right, let's move on. Perfect.
And it was just like the ending, it was just a whirlwind kind of ending because there's just so much going on. It's just a brutal kind of justice because now both the people that are committing these horrible acts are dead. Thankfully, Kelly's rescued, but now Hightower's probably going to go to jail for killing someone, even though it's kind of like a revenge justice type thing and kind of get justice for his sister and all the victims. But it was just, this whole episode just left me with so many questions that, like, it really left me it really left me pondering and thinking about certain things, like, who was the real monster here, like Mason or Lucas or both of them? Because Lucas was the one doing the killings, he was the one actually committing the acts, but it was on Mason's orders. And especially since Lucas wasn't like he's not fully present in the sense that he doesn't fully understand what he's doing, like, can you really put all the blame at his feet? And like, did Hightower killing Mason rob the victims' families of justice in terms of seeing Mason punished? But what type of punishment would Mason even face as a quadriplegic? Like, I'm sure imprisonment, but like, I don't know. Before the episode ended, with Hodge just contemplating the case.
What about my team? How many more times will they be able to look into the abyss? How many more times before they won't ever recover the pieces of themselves that this job takes?
And then this shit happens.
You should have made a deal.
Sometimes the day just ends.
As Hodge made his way to his damn humble abode, took off his shoes and his socks, put his gun down, poured him a nice glass of whiskey, we have someone emerge from the fucking shadows, and who is it but none other than the Reaper. And he said, you should have taken the deal. Gunshots, fade to black, episode ends, season's over. I'm stressed, you're stressed, we're all stressed. Criminal Minds. A little backstory on the Reaper. You see how I connected the dots? So let's go back to season 4, episode 18, Ominvore, in terms of Criminal Mind episodes I will never forget, to talk about this unsub. We have this opening scene with Hodge coming to this house of a detective that he used to work with one time, or at least worked one case with, and the detective basically confesses that he made a deal with the Reaper back then when they're investigating the case, that if he stopped investigating the Reaper and his apartment stopped investigating the Reaper, that the Reaper would stop killing. And Hodge is like, we don't make deals with people like this, and you were wrong to kind of make this deal because you basically let a serial killer get away. How do you know he didn't keep killing? Like, all this stuff. And basically the detective was like, no, he stopped killing because he said he was going to, and he proved it basically. And the Reaper did stop killing because the detective decided to take the deal. But the deal had a clause in it that once one of them died, or once a detective died, that the deal was null and void. And as fate would have it, the detective dies and the Reaper starts killing again, and the Hodge knows exactly who did it and gathers up the BAU because we're going to Boston to get the Reaper. And of course this case is very personal to Hodge because he worked the case all the way back then and he didn't catch him, and now that he's back and committing more killing acts, Hodge feels like he needs to be the one to get him. So the Reaper starts back up again in terms of killing people. He basically like pulls people over on the side of the road and just stabs them and shoots them and just does the killing thing. The BAU is investigating the case, and the Reaper leaves at one of the crime scenes a pair of glasses, and the glasses end up belonging to George Foyet. Now George Foyet was one of the victims of the Reaper's killings from back then, but he actually ended up surviving. Hodge, not knowing at the time who Foyet actually is.
He's just a man, nothing more. Then why can't you catch him? We will.
of course, this is not my first time watching this episode, but knowing what I know now, like that was so chilling of the Reaper to be in front of Hotch's face talking about something, why can't you catch him? Like really toying with Hotch. The BAU often profiles that sometimes a prime suspect will insert themselves into the investigation. And in this case, the Reaper put themselves right in the investigation, like none other, like the sole survivor being George Fourier, who was actually the Reaper. Like he inflicted those wounds upon himself and then made it seem like he survived the Reaper's attack. Now get this, the Reaper ends up calling Hotchner and offering him the same deal that he offered the other detective 10 years ago. And of course, Hotch, very prideful, very just like, you know, about his business. He's like, I don't make deals with people like you. I'm the guy that takes out people like you. And the Reaper's like, okay, you sure? All right, we'll be seeing you soon. Next thing you know, the Reaper goes onto a public bus and kills the bus driver, and like 8 of the passengers on the bus, kills everyone on the damn bus, and smears the damn wall with their blood and numbers and just a whole thing. Hotch does not take this well. Hotch does not take this well. We have Hotch in the alleyway breaking down, teary-eyed. Now, we don't see Hotch teary-eyed often. Unfortunately, we're going to see him very teary-eyed in a moment, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But Papa Rossi consoles him, kind of like, you know, tells him like, look, this is not your fault. What's happening? This is all on the Reaper. And if you decide to give in right now because you didn't make a stupid deal with a damn criminal killer, then what are we doing here? So Rossi kind of shakes some sense to Hotchner, gets his head back in the game, and they just continue pursuing the Reaper. So through working the case, the BAU is able to track down the Reaper's whereabouts. He ended up going to an author's house who wrote a book on the Reaper, but he got some of the key details wrong. Of course, like I said, they profiled the Reaper as a narcissist. They apprehended the Reaper, and the Reaper's like, I'm gonna be so famous you don't even know. And they're like, yeah, you're going to jail, whatever. So that's the end of it. The Reaper gets sent to jail. Next thing you know, as the episode ends, we see the Reaper gnawing at his arm to the point that he's bleeding. And then we cut to JJ coming back into the BU and saying, turn on the news. The Reaper has motherfucking escaped. The Reaper escaped because they took him to the damn hospital wing of the hospital because he was bleeding from his wrist. You know, that's a bleeder. And he somehow managed to escape. And obviously he had 10 years of not doing any killing because of the deal he made with the last detective. So in that time, he was planning all his like escape routes from any prison that he might have ended up at. So he ends up escaping, and the episode ends with the Reaper on the loose. I said, oh my God. Only for him to resurface at the season 4 finale, where Hotchner was in his apartment taking a sip of his brown juice, and Reaper said he should have taken a deal, and the gun goes off, and we fade to black, and that's how the season ends. And that brings us to season 5. Season 5, episode 1, Nameless, Faceless, just picks up. It's like another day in the neighborhood. They're coming off of the To Hell and Back case in Canada. Like literally just a few hours after that case, they're being brought on to this case. Now, I really don't care much about the case in this episode because I was stressed out over Hotchner, who was missing, and the BAU just assumed that he was sleeping in. Hotch does not sleep in. He is the freaking unit chief of the BAU. So they're just working this case about this boy who's being threatened of being killed. I don't know. I don't care about the case. I really don't.
Clap if you care. All right, let's move on. Perfect.
Eventually, they keep saying, oh, like, has anyone heard from Hotch? Has anyone heard from Hotch? Princess eventually says, let me go over there. Princess goes over there. She sees the blood on the floor. She sees Hotch's gun. She sees Hotch's phone. The commotion of what happened that night. She said, oh shit, Hotch is missing. Now, obviously, she can't tell the rest of the BAU because they're actively working a case and she needs her attention there. But she does tell Spencer because he was expecting her back on the case in terms of what they were doing. So Spencer knows, Princess knows, and then also Garcia knows because she's at home base. So they're able to track down Hotchner. They find him in the hospital, thank God. And we're getting Hotchner getting flashbacks of what happened that night when the Reaper was in his apartment. The Reaper was just tossing Hotchner around, messing him up good, like stabbing him. And obviously it's in the profile that the Reaper always leaves something at a crime scene and also he takes something. Hotch ultimately discovers that the Reaper discovered the whereabouts of where Haley and Jack live. Haley is ex-wife and his son Jack. Haley and Jack now have to go into protective custody because the Reaper knows their whereabouts, or Reaper has made it known that Haley and Jack are a target. So Haley and Jack have to go into custody, and the end scene is just so heartbreaking because Hotch is promising that he's gonna find the Reaper and take him out, and they're gonna be able to come out of hiding, and they're gonna be able to be a family again. Jack is all sad seeing his father all beat up and wounded, and Hotch is just like defeated. He's defeated. He's like, I don't know if I should have taken the deal or not. Like, I don't know, because like now he's contemplating what Foyet's next steps are going to be. And he's like, how long is it going to take for us to catch this guy? And if, let's say if it's 10 years, My son and my ex-wife are gonna have to be in protective custody for 10 years. I'm never gonna be able to see them again. There's just a lot of feelings that Hotch is going through. And this episode just had me stressed because like from the start with Hotch like just missing, and then once he's found, and then Haley and Jack being in peril, and Hotch just being in distress. I don't like seeing Hotch in distress. He's such a strong leader that anytime he's going through it, we're all going to be going through it and we're all going to be feeling it. So this episode really did a number on me. And unfortunately, it culminates in one episode of Criminal Minds. When I say I will never, ever forget, it is Criminal Minds, Season 5, Episode 9, 100. The 100th episode anniversary of Criminal Minds, and the episode that will break my Criminal Minds heart forever. Criminal Minds Season 5 Episode 9, 100 absolutely devastated me. That eerie opening with the police presence and the BAU members walking us through the house to a room, and we don't see what's in the room, but we just see Morgan standing there. Oh my God. Then we have the interview with Strauss in present day, and it's interspersed with flashbacks of the Reaper case and them working it. Of course, Haley didn't know any better because Foya had gotten the marshal's phone and was pretending to be the another marshal, and she was just doing as she was told. And of course, if she's told that her husband's dead and her life is on the line, she's gonna do what Foya is saying, not knowing that it's actually Foya. But that phone call, oh my God, the phone call to end all phone calls. We have Hotch telling Jack to work the case. Hotch's tears, Haley's last request to tell Jack how they met, how he used to make her laugh, that he wasn't also serious, and that she wanted Jack to believe in love. Oh, and then the 3 gunshots. Like I said, I just watched this episode again against my better judgment for this video, and I wish I didn't. Seeing Hotch so stoic and controlled, but now in this completely broken down state, it was heartbreaking. I mean, I felt his helplessness. The fact that he couldn't protect his family, the one thing that he'd always sworn to do, and then we have that beatdown, and then we have that beatdown, and then we have that beatdown on the Reaper. Hotch finding Haley dead, sprawled out on the floor. I said, Hotch, don't hold back. It was brutal, but I understood it and I needed it. He laid into that man until he couldn't lay into him anymore. Do you know how much force and hate and anger it takes to kill someone just through punches alone? To the point that once the BAU finally arrived on the scene, Morgan had to pull him off of the damn Reaper, letting him know that he was dead. Good and dead. But finding Jack safe in the damn chest was such a relief. I was so glad he worked the damn case, Jack. I'm so glad he worked the case. Oh my God. And I think that's why Strauss didn't push the damn investigation any further, because when she asked Hotchner, in your professional opinion, what do you think the Reaper would have done if he got up off from that floor? And Hotch said,
I don't have to think. I know that he would have tried to kill my son too.
That's good enough for me.
Ending of this episode with Hotch comforting Jack at the BAU headquarters with the BAU team surrounding him. It was bittersweet, but we're family. Like, the BAU is family. I include myself in that family. Yes, I went through this with them. Thank you very much. Rest in peace, Haley. I hated the Reaper. The Reaper is an unsub that will go down in infamy in terms of just the worst of the Criminal Mind unsubs.
Fuck you, bitch.
It was an emotionally draining episode, to say the least, and I think, like, at the end of the day, if I had to do a top 5 Criminal Mind episodes I'll never forget, this easily would make that top 5 if we're talking about all 15 seasons. Easily, this would be in the top 5. Easily. Criminal Mind Season 5, Episode 9, 100. And the fact, one more thing, and the fact that the creators decided to put this episode in the middle of the season. This wasn't a season finale that we could watch and suffer through and have a few months to recover from. This was in the middle of that season. I know they had to go all out for a 100th episode anniversary, but did it have to be this storyline? And you expect us to be back next week for another episode of working another BAU case? My God. My God. Criminal Minds. Will my suffering never end when it comes to watching your show? Oh my God. But nevertheless, you must persist until Criminal Minds Season 5, Episode 12, The Uncanny Valley. This was the episode where we have the woman unsub. We don't usually get a lot of women unsubs, so every time you get one, it's usually a very interesting case because women unsubs, their reason for being unsubs are usually, I don't want to say justified, but I don't know, there's some je ne sais quoi to the reason why they're an unsub. So usually I'm like, interesting. In this one, we have the woman unsub and Samantha Malcolm, and basically she was kidnapping women and turning them into human dolls. Like human dolls. Like human dolls. She will be physically immobilizing them, but making sure they're still conscious enough to be mentally aware through a series of medicines that she was able to acquire. A drug-induced conscious paralysis, as the BAU put it. And they profiled her as like a doll collector, like an antisocial, extremely introverted, of course, childhood trauma. That's a ever-occurring pattern here with these unsubs. And I was like, oh my God. I come to find out as I look more into her, she went through electroshock therapy. I wouldn't even call it therapy. She went through electroshock torture at the order of her father in order to help her cope with the loss of her mother. What type of shit is that? A child loses their mother and you as a medical doctor and a father decide, oh, electroshock therapy is the best way to treat this? Sick. How do you think your child's not gonna turn out to become an unsub when you do stuff like that? And the episode just had creepy imagery of like the dolls, like, well, the humans that were dolls as they try to escape and they have pieces of themselves falling off, like just very creepy imagery. But I loved Reid's passionate takedown of this damn doctor, because Reid was able to clock that the doctor did more than just electroshock therapy, and that was the first signifier for Reid that something was off about this damn father, because he was like, this is not a proper treatment for this type of situation. So from that, Reid was like, I want to go interview the father, and he took Rossi along with him, and Reid was able to clock just by looking around the damn doctor's office. He had all these little toys on the shelf, and come to find out those toys were trophies for all the other girls who he was treating, quote unquote, who he was actually abusing. And we was able to clock that. So not only was he abusing his daughter, but he was abusing other girls, and like literally you are the reason why your daughter's doing the things that she's doing now, and you are sick. I just love seeing Reid take someone down, especially like verbally and with his mental acuity and his intelligence, and just Spencer Reid.
I'm sorry, you can't back up your story, doctor.
This is why I love my job, doctor.
You're stupid. You're not smart. You're not smart.
But again, this is one of those cases where you feel bad for the unsub, because like I love that they even Reid in taking down the unsub, he didn't have to do it violently, he didn't have to do it with his gun drawn, he just did it on a basic human level of explaining and like empathizing with her and saying, I understand what happened to you in your youth. You had these precious dolls that were your comfort as you were being taken advantage of and abused by your father. And eventually one day you walked in on another girl playing with your dolls and you witnessed your father abusing her, and it kind of broke you, and you never got your dolls back. So you decided you needed a replacement because she was profiled as a doll collector. So this was her replacement, kidnapping grown women and making them into those dolls. So Reid was able to bring the dolls back to her, and she forgot all about the woman that she kidnapped, and she was just there with her dolls again like she's a little girl. And they're able to just take her away. I'm sure she's gonna go to some mental facility. But oh my God.
They won't take them away.
I promise no one will ever take them away again.
This was such a sad case in terms of the unsub. And then of course it was a creepy case in terms of the imagery that we got with these human doll mannequin things. The Uncanny Valley. We have reached the final episode of discussion in this video of Criminal Mind episodes I will never forget for this first part. I have never forgotten. You have never forgotten. Criminal Mind Season 5, Episode 16, Mosley Lane. Talk about an acting performance. Talk about an acting performance when just a 5 to 10 second moment of emotional turmoil stays with the viewers for as long as it has. You guys know the moment I'm talking about. You guys know the moment I'm talking about.
He was alive yesterday.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Oh my God, I'm jumping ahead, but let's go back. Let's talk about it from the beginning. So we have a winter festival taking place. 8-year-old Amy Lynch goes missing. The mom lets go of her hand for 2 seconds because she sees another mom in the distance yelling out for her missing child. So of course that mom turns to look and see if she can help her, whatever she does. Next thing you know, her daughter's gone. And this is the callback to that episode in season 3, 7 seconds, where they said that it only takes 7 seconds for a child to go missing. It was all a ruse that the unsubs had set up, and it was all part of their plot to kidnap these damn children. So the episode continues with now kidnapped Amy is in some type of like basement bunker, and we have this boy a little bit older than Amy come to comfort her and just let her know like she's gonna be okay. And then of course the unsub, this evil elderly couple comes and takes the boy away for misbehaving, and we see him being cremated. Yeah, that's the type of episode we're dealing with. We see him being cremated. He's unconscious, he's put in a box, and he's put into a damn crematorium, Interview with the Vampire style, and he's cremated. Shout out to Interview with the Vampire. And that's how we start this episode. Yeah. So the episode continues and you have another mother comes to the BAU and encounters Prentice and asks to speak to JJ. And, you know, Prentice is like, oh, is there anything I can help you with? And she's like, I think the same person that took Amy is the person that took my son. JJ kind of gives the BAU some more backstory that this mother has been coming every time there's been a missing kid in this area. And her son went missing 8 years ago, Charlie, and she's never stopped looking for him and so on and so forth. But she's kind of a little kooky. Of course, with her son being missing, she's become an alcoholic and just not all the way there. Now we have Evan Peters guest starring as Kidnapped Charlie. Come to find out that Amy's not the only one that's been kidnapped. We have Charlie that was also kidnapped. He might have been the first person that was kidnapped. Who knows? But we have Evan Peters playing Kidnapped Charlie. Also, he's named David by his kidnappers, but his real name is Charlie. We come to find out that was the mom's missing son. So Charlie's been missing for 8 years, and come to find out that Charlie now has pretty much Stockholm syndrome. Like, he's been kidnapped for 8 years, living with these evil unsubs. So basically, he is part of the plot to kidnap the children. Thankfully, one thing that Charlie was doing was he was taking pictures of all the kidnapped children that had come through there. And again, I think he was the first, so he's seen a lot of kids come through there, because by the time they solved the case at the end, there's like a Rolodex of all these kids that were kidnapped. Like, it had to be at least like 60 kids, unfortunately. And they only rescued 3. Matthew Gray Goobler, When I Catch You, When I Catch You. So the BAU is profiling, working the kids. They're able to come across, make a list of all people that have had issues in terms of child abuse and stuff like that. So they come upon the Roycewood couple, who are the unsubs. Elderly looking couple, like, there's a damn family portrait. I don't even want to call it that. There's just a damn portrait of them two and the damn kidnapped children on the damn living room counter. I'm like, first off, just that alone, like, they look too damn old to be having these damn kids. Like, I'm sorry. Like, unless it's an adoption situation, they are too old to have birthed these kids. These are not your damn kids, and you know that. Like, you are dead wrong. The father unsub is talking to Morgan and Prentice up above, while the lady unsub has the kids muffled in the basement, and she kind of like sneaks them out through the back to go to the damn crematorium to, I guess, get rid of evidence, get rid of them, unfortunately. So Prentice eventually is like, yeah, these are the people that are killing all these damn kids. So they send everyone over to the house. They're searching. They discover the basement. They discover the pictures that thankfully Charlie was taking of all the kids as proof of all these kidnapped children that were here at once upon a time. Obviously not anymore, unfortunately. And the worst part of it is that when they cremate the damn kids, they sprinkle the ashes of the kids over the roses in their flower bed in the front of their home. Like, how evil can you get? So you have these damn roses sprouting up in your front yard, and you're just looking at them, not even thinking that the soil is made up of all the kids that you've kidnapped and killed. My God. Is there no hell on earth having to live amongst people as evil as this? What the fuck? Ultimately, once they discover the pictures, it's a wrap. They know that the Roycewood people are the ones that are guilty of kidnapping all these kids. So they go to arrest the damn father unsub. And when they asked the police officer where he is, they said, oh, he needed to use the bathroom. I said, are you fucking kidding me? As soon as he said that, I knew what would be the result. They go rush to the bathroom, and no, he didn't escape. He just killed himself. Where is he escaping to? If he's going to get caught and go to jail, he killed himself. Gets out scot-free. And yes, I consider killing yourself and dying, getting out scot-free when you commit treasonous acts like this. You deserve to rot in jail. Yeah. Just hung himself in the bathroom. I said, are you fucking kidding me? That police officer that let him go to the bathroom unsupervised, he said, be fired. I'm sorry. I just think that's the most ridiculous thing. Not even pee with the door open, nothing. You just let him go to the bathroom and close the door, and there's a window in the bathroom. Are you a damn idiot? So he's out of the picture. Then we go to the damn crematorium where the mom unsub is trying to get rid of these damn kids. And Evan Peters, Charlie, he gets a gun from somewhere. I don't know where he got it from. Maybe the mom had it or something. The woman unsub, I don't want to call her mom. So he gets the gun and he's pointing it at the damn woman unsub, and she's just like flippantly saying like, you're not gonna do it. Because again, Charlie's been with her for 8 years, so she thinks that he's conditioned to like not break out of this Stockholm syndrome, and he shoots her square in the chest, lays her ass out flat on the floor. Just in time for the damn BAU to show up and rescue the 3 of them. So Charlie, Amy, and then the one other girl. Now, here we are. Here we are at the moment that destroyed me, and I'm sure you as well. First off, Charlie's mom, shout out to you. So Charlie's mom ended up divorcing her husband, or the husband ended up leaving her because they had one other kid, and the mom was just letting the fact that her son was missing consume her whole life and trying to find him whatever. He couldn't do anymore, so he took the other kid and just left or whatever. So he shows up and he's like, you never gave up on our son. So they kind of reconcile a little bit, and also all the other parents are just thankful to the mom for not giving up and continuing this investigation all these years later. So shout out to her. So the kids come through, the 3 rescue kids come through. The one girl goes to her parents, Amy goes to her parents, and here's Charlie. Charlie goes to embrace the mom that had been looking for him this whole entire time. They embrace the mom, the dad, and Charlie. It's a teary-eyed reunion. Evan Peters' acting was great in this role. Just a beautiful thing. Now we come to this final scene. There was also a missing kid by the name of Steven, and his parents were here in hopes that he would be one of the rescued kids. Charlie goes over to Steven's parents, and you know, of course the parents are like distraught that their kid isn't amongst the ones that were rescued, so they're already like teary-eyed and emotional. And Charlie lets them know that Steven never stopped thinking about you guys. You should be very proud to have had him as a son. And Steven's father asks Charlie, like, did he suffer? And Charlie lets Steven's father know that he died protecting Amy. Because in this moment, we realized that Steven was the kid that died comforting Amy at the beginning, and that he literally was just alive yesterday. And that's the father's realization that he has in the moment, and that's the emotional breakdown that he has when he says he was alive yesterday.
He was alive yesterday.
I've never had 5 seconds emotionally destroy me like this moment. My God, it gets me every time. It gets me every time. I could watch that episode again right now and I would get teary-eyed all over again. Oh. That moment of Criminal Minds, I will never forget. I don't know how long this video is gonna end up being. I'm looking at my timer and it's saying like 3 hours. I do not believe I just sat here and talked for 3 damn hours. Hopefully I can cut it down to a cute hour. And even then it will be too long. I don't know what I was jabbering on about. There's so many good episodes of Criminal Minds. I think the first 5 seasons of Criminal Minds is like peak Criminal Minds. Like maybe like the first 7 or 8. But these first 5 seasons, they were cooking with some real good fire, because there were so many episodes that were so good, and there were so many that I left off. Like I had a few here that I didn't even mention because I didn't want to go on for too long. But do you guys relate to some of these episodes that I talked about here today in terms of episodes that you'll never forget? Were there some that I left off that you have stuck in your mind that you need to discuss? Please let me know down below in the comments. Let's see if our list matched up. I'll be back very, very soon to discuss the next 5 seasons of Criminal Minds, Criminal Minds season 6 through 10, in terms of the Criminal Mind episodes I'll never ever forget. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn on that notification bell. And yeah, just be well. And we'll be back very, very soon to discuss more Criminal Minds. Bye.